Do you see a Tesla stock repurchase occurring soon? Many investors have been calling for a Tesla stock buyback, and an expert says that it will happen if this information is provided. If Tesla were to produce 10 million vehicles annually and earn an operating profit of $15,000 per vehicle, that would equal an operating profit of $150 billion. If investors were to take a 30% discount off of that amount, that would equal $4.5 trillion. With the hypothetical operating profit of $150 billion, Tesla could likely use the majority of that money to conduct stock buybacks, says Tesla Bull. As Dave Lee previously stated, many Tesla investors demand a stock buyback. What's a repurchase of stocks? A stock buyback occurs when a company buys back its shares from the marketplace with its accumulated cash, also known as a share repurchase. A stock buyback allows a company to reinvest in itself. The repurchased shares are absorbed by the company, reducing the number of outstanding shares on the market. A buyback benefits shareholders by increasing the percentage of ownership held by each investor by reducing the total number of outstanding shares. In the case of a buyback, the company is concentrating its shareholder value rather than diluting it. Moreover, companies benefit from a stock buyback because it can preserve stock prices, consolidate ownership, and take the place of dividends. Investors can benefit because they receive their capital back. However, a repurchase doesn't always benefit investors. Even in May, Leo Kogowan, the third largest individual shareholder of Tesla stock, called on the EV maker to announce a $15 billion stock buyback as the company's share price continues to fall. In a tweet to Martin Vicka, head of investor relations at Tesla, Kogo once said the company should immediately announce its plans to buy back $5 billion of Tesla shares this year and $10 billion next year. He added that Tesla should use its free cash flow to fund the buyback and that it shouldn't affect its existing $18 billion cash reserves. In another tweet, Kogowan said Tesla's free cash flow amounted to $2.2 billion in the first quarter of the year. He added that he expects it to climb to $8 billion this year and $17 billion next year after capital expenditures have been factored. And he also said that Tesla can invest in full self-driving, its Optimus bot, and new factories, while also buying back its undervalued stocks. Although Leo Kogowan is a billionaire in his own right, he disclosed in a tweet in September 2021 that the value of his purported holdings increased to $4 billion, $5 billion, and ultimately more than $7 billion in the same year. I believe in Elon Musk's great mission. Kogowan has subtly accumulated one of the largest stakes in Elon Musk's company in 2021, remarked Kogowan in a tweet around the second week of October. Musk responded to a tweet from Kogowan stating that Tesla's PE ratio compression could only be resolved by a buyback or a twofold increase in earnings, which sparked rumors about a repurchase. Musk just nodded in response, stoking rumors that Tesla would undertake its first ever share buyback. Founder of She International and billionaire of Indonesian descent, Leo Kogowan has been a longtime supporter of Tesla and presently has over 23 million shares of the electric vehicle firm. It is apparent that Kogowan has been a vocal supporter of Tesla's share buyback program. Through a tweet, Kogowan urged that Tesla execute a $100 billion share buyback from 2022 to 2026, and then another $1 trillion buyback from 2026 to 2030. Kogowan believes that Tesla will have a significant market cap by 2030 if it can complete a $1 trillion buyback between 2026 and 2023. According to the billionaire investor, if Tesla buys back its shares between 2026 and 2030 at a $1,000 per share, it will eliminate 1 billion of the 3.14 billion shares that are currently in circulation, bringing the total number of outstanding shares down to about 2.14 billion. This is because fewer shares will be accessible to investors. As a result of Elon Musk's recent sales of more Tesla shares, the stock price may rise to $5,000 from $3,000 per share. Kogowan tweeted that this would reverse Elon's sale of more than $35.7 billion worth of Tesla stock. Elon, Tesla, or both of them buy back $35.7 billion, which is a substantial sum. Because of Tesla's cash availability to allow for healthy reserves for emergencies without borrowing money or issuing bonds, I only suggest $5 to $10 billion buybacks this year. Kogwin is still optimistic about Tesla for that day. Coca once stated, "I'm adamant about this. I am favored with 23,306,200 lucky shares. I rise and fall with Tesla and have 52,300 shares more." Bold Tesla, according to Dave Lee, a Tesla stock buyback is not as implausible as some people would have you believe. According to Lee, if Tesla could produce 10 million cars annually at an operating profit of $15,000 per vehicle, the company would make $150 billion in operating profit annually. If investors were to take a 30% cut, that amount would rise to $4.5 trillion. With the hypothetical operating profit of $150 billion, Tesla could likely use the majority of that money to buy stock. Buybacks, states Lee goes on to say that since Tesla doesn't require a lot of capital expenditures, 80 to 90% of that money might go towards purchasing stock. Buybacks. Assuming Tesla is able to do so, not quite the $1 trillion that Kogwin Leo is proposing, regrettably, but there are a few factors at play here. First, if Tesla FSD is truly successful, Tesla can increase the operating profit per vehicle. For instance, Tesla can get a $20,000 or even $25,000 operating profit per vehicle. If it were to issue $150 billion of stock annually over the course of 4 or 5 years, that would be approximately $600 to $750 billion. If Tesla were to sell 10 million vehicles annually, operating profits could increase to $250 billion over the course of 4 to 5 years, or $1 trillion to $1.25 trillion. If that were to occur, Tesla could then recoup $1 trillion during that time. Another factor that could potentially benefit Tesla is the humanoid robot Optimus. If Optimus proves to be a huge success and the company can ramp it up more quickly than most anticipate, perhaps by 2028 or 2029, Tesla could sell Optimus. If the company can make about $20 of operating profit from each humanoid robot and sell 20 million of these machines in a year, that's $400 billion in operating profits just from Optimus, spread over 4 years, or well over $1 trillion. Tesla uses that authority for stock buybacks, but as they pointed out on the most recent Q3 earnings call, Tesla's performance will determine how well this assumption is carried out. Among other things, Tesla CEO Elon Musk discussed her stock repurchase. The issue of a stock purchase has been discussed extensively at the board level. The board generally believes that it makes sense to conduct a buyback, but we want to make sure that the process is done correctly. Nevertheless, it is definitely feasible for us to conduct a buyback of between $5 and $10 billion. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, stated that even in the worst-case scenario for the company the following year, 2023, despite it would be a challenging year, Tesla is still able to undertake a $5.10 billion repurchase. Naturally, this is still awaiting board clearance and scrutiny. It's possible that we'll undertake some significant buybacks. In a subsequent tweet, Musk stated that although the market team prioritizes the near term, it's critical to concentrate on the long term. Kogwin used a profit model as an example. Robotaxi, he said that by selling the car to private owners for $100,000 per FSD and collecting up to 20 to 40% in fees, Tesla could create its own tiny robotaxi and make a 200% annual profit. Kogawa feels that if Tesla can implement this strategy like most Tesla projects, stockholders will reap significant benefits from the returns. Kogwin asserts that he shares Musk's optimism over Tesla's future. Kogwin thinks Tesla will have a fantastic fourth quarter of this year. Third largest individual shareholder of Tesla, it's said that Leo Kogawa made a fortune recently by investing heavily in Tesla. Kogwin, who also founded the company, I formed She International in 1989, and on November 9, 2022, Kogwin disclosed that he presently owns 23,306,200 Tesla shares. She International was ranked among the Forbes 400 for 2022. Now, a $145 billion private business operates without taking out bank loans. Why do we create negative working capital models like Tesla? Because knowledge is always at their fingertips, employees are 3 times more productive than those of our rivals. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for significant updates on Tesla stock, Leo Coatwin tweeted.